Blessings. Welcome to another edition of Ashe. I'm your host, Queen Mother Imaku Shekamet. We're continuing our conversation on Jena 6 and the rekindling of the movement. And we have quite a distinguished panel with us here today. Joining us in the studio is artist activist known as the Black Warrior. Also, your website is, you're CEO of?
Black Fire Entertainment.
Black Fire Entertainment,
and
yes.
I'm also working on untouchmusic.com.
Untouched Music, yes. Thank you. Sister Karen Hatter, familiar face to our audiences, who's social commentator on Akeru as well as on Ashe. She's frequent guest, always glad to have her. She's a columnist for Akeru New African Magazine and also for Now Public, where you are just the darling. One of their star columnists.
One of the star.
Pleased to have you here.
Thank
Brother
you.
George Cook, artist activist who is founder and creator of Let's Talk Honestly.com, and who also attended and spoke at the protest march that was held in Washington, D.C. Welcome back, Brother George.
You're welcome.
And Amen Toure Souten, which means Prince Amen. And he is an artist activist. You've been a musician for a long time, and you also created just beautiful, beautiful artwork where you left your imprints around a lot of different places.
Yeah.
Of,
a lot of
murals. Beautiful. For the sake of continuing where we left off in part one, in talking about taking what is ours, what exactly does that mean? Because, you know, some people hear that and they're like, oh no.
Yeah, I know.
And in the same way that people expected that there was going to be a lot of bedlam on the day of the protests, which of course wasn't the case. I'm here to tell you, look, I've attended a lot of protests, okay? It's not about getting together and trying to beat somebody down, all right? All the protests I've been to have been very peaceful. And the history of protests for us in this beautiful. Again, welcome to all of you. Thank you. Well, now, for country by and large have been peaceful protests, okay? But still, people have a lot of fear about even when just a couple of black folks get together. What are they doing? What's going to happen? You know? So now, what do you mean?
Well, what I mean is, personally, you know, as far as I'm concerned, I mean exactly what Malcolm said. Whatever means are necessary. But in this instance, I'm talking about recognizing that when you are trying to push through legislation or get this or that or the other thing done, you have to be straightforward about, you know, yes, this is a racist system that you have here. The people in Jena now, it's supposed to be 3,000 people approximately, right? Only 350 of them are black. Now, the white people are running around all over talking about how, oh, yeah, see no problems, and you get all the black people behind to a relative of one of the Jena 6 who said that, well, we just kind of hope and pray for the best. And see, until we, you know, people are running around saying that, well, this is so unusual. And that's the whole idea behind recognizing that until you understand the white supremacy feeling and theory behind the way that the United States has been set up, you cannot approach it from, I mean, this isn't about we haven't heard this kind of thing since the 50s. No, no, no. You've been pretending that it was gone, but it never went anywhere. Individuals. I'm talking about a group. This isn't that all white people are bad. We're not saying that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the system itself was built on the concept of white supremacy. Manifest Destiny said that if we can think it and do it, we're going to go do it. That's exactly what they did. So the idea is that you have to approach this system recognizing that there is systemic racism. And from that point on, then you have to craft your strategy.
So then what would that take?
I don't know, because I don't believe that you can do it that way.
Okay, you're saying we should craft our strategy, but then you're saying you don't.
I'm saying I don't believe, unless you dismantle this and start it from, I'm talking about dismantle the whole concept of, we have this great document, the Constitution. Probably need to write a new one. The Constitution allows for importing black people up until 1807. So it seems to me that's a flawed document to base your nation upon, don't it? Sounds like to me, So as far as I'm concerned, there needs to be a new Constitution or something,
That's the document that made us 3/5 of a human.
Look, for what? But see, that's a mischaracterization. That was for the purposes of counting black people, so that if I have property, I want my property counted. So if I own you, I want to be able to figure out a way to count you. So, okay, 3/4. Okay, count all them up and add them up, and then that represents X amount, and that goes toward my voting power in Congress. And see, the concept of the United States, it was only white land-holding males that wielded power. Okay, so they've been slowly creeping along, including everybody else, supposedly, And that's the point, though. There needs to be a recognition that the whole basis for this is flawed.
So, some are saying, because of what have happened with the elections, that the election process is no good. Then there are others who, Brother George, you were sharing that you feel that it's really important to be part of the election process.
He was talking about the Constitution. What I call it is the game. It's a game, and when you're playing a game, you got two choices. You can learn the rules, or you can lose every time. And what we have to do, but with this game, there are ways around it. But you have to learn the rules first. Learn the rules, then you can learn the ways around it. And so one of the things you have to do in this game, if you want to be taken seriously, is exercise your right to vote. I know, like you said, a lot of people believe our votes are not counted, but to a politician, you don't count unless you vote. So I believe we have to, and I'm not talking about a big block vote, nothing. Still vote your mom, vote what's right for you. But if you go to the polls, everybody has to come talk. Like the Republicans just skipped Tavis Smiley's debate. And they see no reason to go because they figure we're not going to vote for him anyway. We should hold their feet to the fire to make them know, okay, we're not going to let that go. The Democrats, too, we should make them come. They're taking our votes for granted. Oh, they're going to vote Democrat. What we have to do is start to exercise our power to vote. Let everybody know we're serious. That way we get the best of both worlds. All the Democratic ideas are not great, and we know a lot of Republican ideas are not great, but we need to have them come to us and speak to us as equals and exercise our power, which we're not doing. And you can't blame politicians. Politicians are who they are. They're what they are. And until we start playing the game, start voting, let you know we'll put you out if you don't help us. They're not going to take it seriously at all.
Yeah, that's actually what I advocated. Remember in my Black Folks in the Election process?
Yes, that's right.
The concept is start, political action committees, right? And start holding these individuals accountable. They say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we're going to do the other thing. And you don't just vote for them. You go to them with a list of things that you want. Right, grassroots on the ground, right?
Forget the thing, Democrat, Republican.
Right.
Vote for who's best for you, because we're becoming beholden to these parties.
And they start taking you for granted.
They're taking us for granted.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what I'm talking about, the separation. And I feel if we're going to get a righteous person, the proper person, once they're beholden to any party, then that automatically exempts them from being right. And that's the type of thinking we need to have, a new form of thinking. It's not like, and the more we separate ourselves, is the less power we have. I mean, that's common sense, you understand? The powers that be wants the perception of racism to even be worse than how it really is because everybody is separated, you understand? Well, once you come under, because the average person in the United States and all around the world wants peace. They want to have a good job. They want to live in peace and comfort. That's, and usually when there is some type of disaster, you see everybody comes together. There's no black and white, everybody comes together.
On that point, though, because of the fact that it usually takes a disaster for everybody to come together, the path to peace, though, is not always strewn with flowers. The path to peace sometimes brings about, there's
A lot of
friction that you
friction,
have to
yeah.
go through before, you know, in my tradition we talk about alchemy a lot, okay,
Right.
in the Kemetic tradition. And we have two opposing forces that come together, and in the heat, you have to be able to bear the heat, something beautiful and new is created, all right? There are a lot of folks who seem to want to skip over the friction part.
True.
But because of everything that's happened in this country, there's no way you can do that. I mean,
Right,
that would be just
right.
completely just trying to sweep under the rug the 500 years of submission that we have had to endure.
Peace without honor.
Peace without honor, yes, you know? It's an illusion. It's an absolute illusion
Right.
to do that.
Right.
So, well, you and I were discussing how sometimes when, in order to attain peace, that means there's got to be conflict.
Yeah, well, the conflict, you know, we have to realize we don't need to ask anybody for anything. We have power. We just need to come together. Like, you know, we spend a lot of money, and everything in the United States is a business. Religion, politics, everything is business. Once you are able to bring people together under a banner of love, you get rid of all the religion, we come under a banner of love, right? And peace. We come under, hey, if you don't do what we want you to do, hey, we just boycott you.
Well, then let's talk about economics, and then we'll
You
get
know,
back
and-
to
and that's the
a
key.
topic I want to bring up about repatriation. I was listening to Brother Kermit Edie today on Akiru Radio, who has the show on there called The Empowerment Hour, who really strongly advocates the fact that our power lies in our economic base, which on the one hand seems non-existent, but on the other hand, we're spending mad money.
Oh, entertainment.
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 Yes, you know, fluff items like clothing and
Whatever.
I hate to bring up the
Everything.
stereotypical sneakers thing, you know, but I mean, truly. So we do have economic power, and it's being said by some, like I said, that our true way to get anything that we really want in this country is to demonstrate through withholding our finances in different places, to boycott you know, various industries and so forth, and really put the money back into our community. Well, for me, I say really from the get-go, we should be putting money back into our community. But what are your thoughts on that, Brother Ahmed? What do you have to say about that?
I agree. We, like when the dollar exchanges hands in the black community, as soon as the dollar exchanges, it goes right out. All the other communities, it turns over 2 or 3, 4 more times.
I heard actually it's like 8 times. It's up to 8 times, yeah.
But us, as soon as we get the dollar, it's gone. And that's one of the major excuse me, bro. It's one of the major problems why our communities are the way they are. We don't support each other. You know, I'm going on hearsay because I've never done it. We'll bypass the black businesses to go to somebody else's business.
But isn't that what integration brought us?
Yeah, that's what disintegration brought us. You know? When integration happened, we had so many hotels and stores and restaurants. Everybody wanted to go downtown and eat with somebody else, and our businesses died out. And they didn't want us there. I'm not saying that all white people are this, all white people that. You got good and bad and all. But generally, integration, it destroyed us in a lot of ways. The integrationists wanted to break up the big black communities and scatter us all, you know, all throughout, you know, in other people's communities. And a lot of times, those communities were hostile to us. So that weakened us in a way that weakened us politically. How many billions of dollars do we generate a year? And billions do we have in disposable money? And what are we doing? We're like, as far as black people go on the planet, we're like the richest black people on the planet. Look how we live. What do we produce? We produce music, but we don't even control that or own it. We produce hair care products, things like that, but.
Brother George, you look like you want to jump in.
Yeah.
You mentioned unity, which is a big thing, because I don't know if you remember a few years ago, a Texaco executive made a racist remark in the boardroom. we were supposed to be boycotting Texaco. And I never, and in East Orange, New Jersey,
Supposed to, huh?
there was a Texaco station here, Exxon station here. The first day, everybody going to Exxon. Texaco got cut his prices in half. Station was packed. Hour after he did it. A lot of people might even know that we were supposed to be boycotting Kohl's. I bet you that because they won't advertise in black newspapers, magazines, or on black radio. Until black radio thing happened recently, but they don't advertise in black publications.
I didn't get the memo on that.
I
Really?
hadn't heard
But a
about
lot of people that didn't circulate, and then people that did hear it, nah, their prices are too good.
Yeah,
So
people
that's
say
why
it all the time.
I really find it hard now. A boycott right now, I really find it hard that it's going to work because, like you said, desegregation it kind of hurt us. You have a lot of people now who have achieved some success. What somebody else's idea of success is they've accomplished a little something, they've made a little something. So the black community's problem is not their problem. And I'm not boycotting Kohl's, didn't do anything to me.
Right.
So that weakens our power. Tesco didn't do anything to me. So that weakens our power. That like, we would come to a bargaining table. If I was bargaining with the black community, I would just sit there and keep my hands folded and not open my mouth. I would just wait because I know eventually those 100 men that were there in front of me, because they're going to be 80 and 70 and 30. And then eventually as we start to take care of people and people feel they're doing, they'll drop off. We don't have that unity where, look, you're not going there and I better not see you there. I'm going there because their prices are $5 cheaper. I mean, how many chicken restaurants have you seen here and a Chinese restaurant across the street? Where does everybody go to get their chicken wings? They run and go get the mystery meat from the Chinese guy. Even though we see them in the back cutting up cats, they still don't stop it. Four chicken wings for $2.50.
Stop it.
4 chicken wings $2.50. They run over there and get that. This guy over here, he's trying to have a business in the community. So you keep tax dollars and our money, but they won't go to him.
Well, look at the neighborhood that we live in, Brother Amen. Okay, now you have, there's a Popeyes.
Yeah.
Then there's the Muslim brothers, the Arab people who have the chicken place on the corner right across the street from Popeyes.
Is it American Fried Chicken?
And there's American Fried Chicken.
Whatever it is.
And then you go a little further down, you have a black-owned little chicken place, okay, which most people walk past. Go up the street, and then there's a black-owned restaurant, which most people walk past, okay. They're up the street a little ways. There's a Chinese-owned fried chicken joint.
Yeah, they're in there.
And yeah, I see people going in there because they have a price war going on, you know.
And you know they closed the Chinese place down.
Oh, did they?
Because unsanitary conditions and cat.
Oh, okay.
Could you please say that louder so people don't think that I'm going
See, I don't think you're
making
going
it
around,
up.
okay?
There was a time when in our neighborhood they
cat?
closed the place down. And what they did is they sold the place to their relatives, and then they opened back up, and it's the same people back in there again.
Oh my.
So
Well, see, but the whole point. Walking past our own businesses and then go and frequent the others who are selling our stuff back to us.
Willie
know?
Lynch at work.
Excuse me?
Self-hatred.
Willie Lynch at work.
Absolutely, it
it's
is.
a lot of self-hatred.
A lot of self-hatred. But now, how about the whole concept of repatriation? Because there are many people who are saying, look, it's just, there are too many problems to surmount here. So, I mean, so then we might as well just shake the dust, you know,
But
the
if
dust
we
off
don't
our sandals. and-
repatriate, though, we have to go back to Africa and take something back to Africa with us. We just can't go back there and we're home.
Oh, no, nobody's talking about that because a lot of them are going to be like, who's you? You know what I mean?
Well,
They
places
might
like
close the
that,
door on us. They might close the door.
But seriously, though, I mean, but see, there are many who are planning
To
you know.
repatriate?
Yes, and but again with a plan.
Well,
Not
yeah,
just showing
that's-
up with their suitcases and saying, "Where do I go?" No, there are people who are buying up land,
Yeah.
who are building. In fact, who was a brother? Somebody prominent in the community who bought a hotel over there.
Will Smith?
Brother Small,
Oh, okay.
Brother Professor Small.
Okay.
Yes. And also we're doing a lot. There's a lot of talk in the community about doing business with our brothers and sisters over in the motherland. You know, you'll hear that on Akiru Radio a lot too. A lot of the different folks are talking from a Pan-African. This though is still that we do not support our own. You know, many of ours will just go walk in perspective. So it's not really looking at us just being able to just pick up and show up.
Yeah.
It sounds like a plan is in the works. But then again, you have diehard folks who are saying, no, look, my ancestors,
Right.
my immediate ancestors, I put enough blood, sweat, and tears into building this country. I ain't going nowhere.
well, let me speak to that one point. countries like Ghana giving us dual citizenship
Yes.
and things like that. But what I really want to say is, when Columbus came here, he said in his personal diary there was already black people here. I know he was in the Caribbean, but they archaeological digs, they found artifacts and bones years ago, and further back than that. There was a city on the Mississippi River, maybe 1,500, 2,000 years ago. I think it was called Cowika. It was a Native American city, and it was large. It had like thousands of people living there. It wasn't no little village, it was a city. There was also black people in this city. And these are the things in the history books they don't tell you. When they talk about repatriation,
Repatriation, it's okay.
Repatriation, Africa's our land, but this is our land too. We've been here since the beginning. They found traces of, they found evidence of black people being here long before they found evidence of the earliest so-called Native Americans being here in North America.
Wow.
So,
Well, from my understanding, historically, the original Native Americans came from Kemet
yeah, they
and
did.
came over here, and so that the original Native Americans were black.
And in South America, they don't talk about the Olmecs.
The Olmecs,
The Olmecs are black people, Nubians, that were here before the Aztecs, Incas, Mayans. And the Mayan calendar is based on the Olmec mathematical system. But, you know, they don't, black people here from not 100, 200 years before Columbus, or 1,000. You know, it's the usual, they cut that out.
So in general, your thoughts
Blackout.
are, so you're basically saying that there's no reason for us to cut and run, that we really need to dig our heels in.
Well, I'm saying those who want to go to Africa, and I would love to go, should go. Those that want to stay here, because both lands are ours. We were here first. And you can do, you know, anybody listening can do their research and see that I'm not making it up. And it's not some pie in the sky thing to make us look good. So, for doing that, I'm for that. But I'm for, you know, like what Marcus Garvey tried to do. That was great. But we should be in both places, not just all leave, because this is ours also.
With less than 5 minutes left in the program, let's throw out some solutions here. What needs to happen to make sure that this doesn't become another Malcolm X experience in terms of the movie X, where it's a passing phase?
We need to rebuild the black family. We need black men to step
Yes.
up. This is not bashing black men, because there are a lot of good brothers out there, but we need to step up and not just take care of our children or our wives, but take care of our community. Black women have been carrying a burden for a long time, but their backs are not built like our backs. We're supposed to carry the heavy load. So I think it's time for us to step up and start leading. Black women have been leading, and I did the thing for Jenna. As I told you, our women plan that. Women do a lot. It's time for us to tell a woman to sit down for a minute and do some of the work. I think then, and only then, will we start to go to the heights that we should be at.
Beautiful.
Well, you know, it's strange that he brought that up, because that's exactly what I was going to talk about. But I was going to go a little deeper. The family structure is all but totally destroyed, you know. So we need to start with the family, because they said that the average, that's, you know what I mean? Because, I mean, to me, if you don't talk about that, then you're not serious. You know what I mean? Because there's a limited amount of black men, and there's a lot more, you know. So there's no way we could do it right and not commute.
We'll have to do another whole show on that.
You know, yes.
Because you know what, again, that's being spoken about in great detail across the community as well. I think that's extremely important. But with 3 minutes left, Sister Karen.
Educate yourself. Learn where you are and who you are. That has to be a major focus. And reclaiming our families.
That's
Brother Ahmed.
beautiful. I think we need a mass movement in this country, economic, political, social, and our culture, our original culture, would be the glue that would hold it all together, that strong economic base, where we could build unity and love amongst ourselves and reclaim what we were meant to be from the start, that we kind of got cut off from our source when we came here. And I think once we get back into who and what we really are, we'll have no problem.
Well, I want to thank everybody for being here today. And it's always a wonderful thing to have a chance to fellowship, because to me this has been like a time of fellowship with other people who are on the same path and doing the work. And if we only have 2 minutes left, but I want to make sure everybody just gives a quick shout out for how people can contact you.
I'm on myspace.com/Black Warrior Chronicles and Black Warrior and the number 1.
Sister Karen?
I'm the social commentator on Akeru New African Network at www.akeruradio.com, and you can contact me by email at amothercares, AMOTHERCARES at AOL.com.
Thank you. Brother George.
And then yes, you can find my site at www.letstalkhonestly.com. My email address is george@letstalkhonestly.com.
Sorry, folks, I don't have.
You want to talk to Brother Amen, you can contact me at www.akeruradio.com, and also say it with me now, www.mwtshekement.org. Tune into Akeru Radio for consciousness programming, for motivational, uplifting programming, and programming that is designed to keep the family unified and educated. Claim your personal power. This is Queen Mother Imaku Unshekamet. Shamotep Ashe.